Hi everyone, I'm Vana from TBR Trio, and in this episode of Tales in Focus, we are at the Biblo Pub in Roanoke, Virginia. Today we're sitting down with Roxanne Holloway, who is currently writing her first paranormal romance. You may also know her as Roxie Cohen, an author who writes all about psychological thrillers. Please note the books we'll be discussing contain mature and potentially triggering themes. We encourage our viewers to always read the content warnings in the books before reading and or listening. As a reminder, we are at the Biblo Pub and it's an open and active store, so you will hear some background noise as the interview goes on, but just keep that in mind. Last but not least, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming author interviews. Please join me in welcoming Roxie. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It's been a good day.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, before we start talking about you and your books and your inspiration for writing them, I want to give you a couple icebreaker questions to kind of loosen up your brain and loosen up a little bit. What is the weirdest place you've ever written?
Currently, the book that I'm working on now, I actually wrote some of it in the intermission of the Hamilton musical a couple of months ago.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that was really cool. My husband went down to get snacks, and I was like, I'm just going to pull this out. So I just pulled out my keyboard and my typewriter and started writing.
Well, like as readers, I feel like we pull out our Kindle, like wherever we get the chance
Yeah.
to. So as a writer, you just pull out your keyboard and you're just writing. Which of your characters would get kicked out of a book club and why?
I feel like probably Jude would get kicked out of a book club because she's like an amateur sleuth and she's a podcaster, so she knows a lot about crime and about just kind of figuring things out, and I feel like she'd probably be giving away the end of the book a lot, like, "Okay, this is what I know is gonna happen," which is totally something I would do. I haven't been kicked out, but I could be.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah. Well, as a detective, you're probably like, yeah, I know how this is gonna end.
Yeah,
Okay. Between Florida and Vermont, where would you live?
Vermont.
Why?
I am an introvert, and I really like the idea that Vermont is just so, like, kind of away from the rest of the world. I know people say, "Oh, Vermont is, like, kind of a sad place, and people are sad in Vermont, and they have, like, whatever," but I would be so happy there.
Well, I heard good things about Vermont.
Yeah.
Vermont. I feel like
I think no, it's just, like, because it's kind of a longer winter there, and it's really isolated, I think they say, "Oh, you would probably don't really," but I would love that. And
it
it's a
sounds.
beautiful place, and Bernie Sanders is, like, from there, so
It sounds like a very comforting place. Like I would choose Vermont over Florida too. So
Yeah, me too. I actually don't like the heat, so that also is, like, a major reason why I would pick Vermont. It's
Ye-
beautiful. So
yeah,
beautiful there.
yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, awesome. Let's jump into you and your inspiration about your books. So tell us a little bit about what inspired you to become an author.
Well, I started reading when I was 3. My mom just kinda started teaching me words, and I learned sight words, and I've been reading, obviously, for a very long time, and, I always wanted to write a book, but I never had any stories in my head. Actually, in 2020, I had gone back to nursing school. Of course, like, we have COVID going on, and I was at home a lot by myself, and I started having this recurring dream, of a brand new bride. It's on the day of her wedding. She is with her new husband. They're on a snowy mountain road and they're on their way to their reception when they have an accident. And in my dream, is she's this bride is like covered in blood and she's on the side of the road holding her husband who is dead. And that was the dream I had. And from the woods is somebody watching them. And so I had this dream over and over and over again. And I was like, maybe if I write it down, it'll go away. Right. So I wrote the whole dream down and it did go away. But then I started thinking, but what happened after that? And so that's actually the first chapter of Through a Mirror Darkly, my first book. So
Oh my god.
it's that scene. Yeah.
Can I ask, like, when you had that dream for the first time, were you afraid? Like, were you like, oh my god, like, why did I dream this?
Yeah. I actually woke up like, oh my God, like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I having this dream? And I'd had this happen to me several times over the years, and I'd have like a recurring dream, and I wouldn't do anything about it. And then their movie would come out or a book would come out, and it would be my dream. And I read a book once by, gosh, I feel like it's, I don't want to say this for sure, but I feel like it's from the woman who wrote maybe Eat, Pray, Love, maybe not, but it's who said like who's it when books would come to her, if she didn't write them, like the muse will go on and find someone else who will write it. And so maybe that's true because I have had several stories that have been in my head that have started out as dreams that later I see it on a bookshelf or it becomes a movie. So,
Wow.
and I just decided to start writing them instead of like losing them.
You're like, "Yeah, no, I thought about it first. I it needs to be I need to write about it."
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what is your favorite part of the writing process? Is it like the writing itself, editing, release day?
It's the writing itself, but it's not the beginning. It's when so for the first, like, I guess, like, 1/3 of the book, I struggle a lot to figure out where it's going because I do make, like, kind of like a basic outline, like, this is what I want to happen, and then I just start writing, and so I'm getting to know the characters, I'm getting to know the story and, like, where I wanna go, but when I hit the end of that first third, everything just kind of falls into place, and then I just go, and it's, like, full speed ahead, and, that's my favorite part, is when I can't stop writing and I don't wanna sleep and I just wanna get the next word out, and I can, literally run on fumes because I have the story that I wanna get out, and that's my favorite part.
Do you write, like, in order? Like, are you a person that just wants to write the book in chronological order, or do you have, like if you have, like, a plot or, like, a twist for, like, a later chapter, you have to write it down first?
So I write, chronological order. I don't know if, I'll always do that in, like, the paranormal romance, but in the mysteries, I write chronological order because I'm actually solving the crime as I'm writing it, because I don't know half the time, I don't know who did it or who's involved or, like, where I'm gonna place clues. I'm just writing it, and it just sort of happens,
That's awesome.
which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Um
'Cause it's like you're finding out too, right? Because you
Yeah,
don't know. You're like,
which is
"Ooh."
why people tell me that when they read, like, the Jude series, they're like, "I feel like Jude was like I was, like, solving the crime with Jude," and I'm like, "Well, that's because I was solving it with her too," and so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and so, Jude is, I guess, like, everyone's pretty much favorite character in all of my books. I know that, she's a very relatable character, I think, she's been through a lot, but she also is just, like, really tenacious, and I like that about her.
What aspects of your personality would you say are in your books? Like, do you feel like you see yourself in the characters, or are they just like they're in your head and you wanna put them down on paper?
And the Jude and Kiss Me in the Dark, which is Savannah, those are completely, like, original characters. Cleo, because it's my first book, Through a Mirror Darkly, I feel like a lot of me is in that.
Mhm.
A lot of people I know are in it, like, her grandmother's name is Dahlia, and Dahlia is very similar, like, mashup of both of my grandmothers. In the Jude Amarante case files, while Jude is a completely, like, unique character, her family is Italian. Her mother is like a mashup of my Italian stepmother and grandmother. So I like put the both of them together and made one character, because, I love, like, my Italian family, and they're just so passionate, and I love that. And so when I was making Jude, it just was natural that she came from a huge, like, Italian family,
Yeah,
so
I love that.
and, it's so funny because we have all these relatives, in Italy that don't speak English. Like, my grandparents are from Italy, but they moved here, and so my grandmother learns to speak English watching Sesame Street with my stepmother as a baby.
Oh my
Yeah, and so, love Sesame Street. I like my Zia Pina and, Vincenzo, like, they don't speak any English, and I speak Spanish, and so we do this thing where we kinda try to talk using 2 different languages, and it works a little bit.
So you don't speak, like, Italian?
No,
Okay.
I'm going to learn.
Okay,
Right now I don't know why, but I started learning French. I don't know. But, it's so funny, they call a lot and, they're just like their favorite thing is just be like, "You're so beautiful," and it's just like, "Thank you.
yeah.
Are you good?"
Yeah, I can relate to that, yeah,
Yeah.
that's, like, the first thing to me, "Oh my god, you've grown so
I know,
much."
like, "Are you married yet?" Like, whenever I met my husband and we were gonna get married, because I met him in my 30s and I had really not dated or anything before that, when they told Peanut about it, she was like, "No. No, this isn't true. You're lying to me." And, like, they're like, "No, like, for real." And she's like, "No." So when we were home at Christmas and she called on video chat and they got to meet my husband, she was like, "No." She couldn't believe it, and she was like and then she was like, "He's so handsome," and, like, all this stuff, and I was just laughing. I was like, "I don't know whether to be, like, annoyed that you think that like, whoa, no way, like this isn't true.
I feel like Italians are just really dramatic.
They
They're
are,
just
they
so
are.
dramatic.
Yeah,
As an Italian, I can say we're very dramatic.
yeah, and I love them so much.
You've had your experience of like publishing a couple books because you have, I believe, not nine or
Ooh, under a couple of different pen names. So
yes,
let's say so these are my main 4
yes.
under Roxie. I have Gemstone and the Missing Dragon Egg, which is a middle grades under Roxie. It's a mystery series, but it's also fantasy,
Mhm.
but it's for middle grades. I wrote it for my little sister. So that's cool. It's a series. And then so that's a novella. I have 2 more novellas that I put in limited print for anthologies,
Mhm.
but they'll be coming out later. So that's it under Roxy. I have another pen name where I write some novelettes.
Mhm.
That one's not really like one that I just kind of advertise, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And then I have some books coming out under my other pen name, but they're the first one's not out yet.
Mhm.
So
Oh, yeah. Well, I can't wait to talk about a little bit more in depth in a few minutes here. But I did want to ask you, as an experienced self published author, what would you say is the most rewarding thing? And on the other hand, what would you say is something like maybe you didn't expect from self publishing?
the most rewarding part is when somebody reads my book and then they message me and they tell me, specifically a lot of people do this with Through a Mirror Darkly, that like it like they connected so much with the character and the main character that certain parts like maybe something I wrote like just like a sentence was just beautiful to them and that they highlighted it and they just think about it all the time. I'm like, thanks, like
Oh.
that's really great when somebody tells you that they like a line of yours and they think it's like poetic and you're like, thank you for that. That I love that part.
Yeah.
Something that I didn't expect was how much of myself I was gonna have to put into it.
Mhm.
With the marketing piece, I'm not so great at it. I'm learning, I'm taking a marketing course, that kind of thing. But it's really difficult, especially when you have a full-time job, you have a family,
Mm.
and then you're trying to write,
Mhm.
and then you also have to do this marketing piece.
Yeah.
And it's expensive to hire someone to help you with these things. So, especially in the beginning, you have to do everything yourself.
Mhm.
And so I was not expecting that.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess I should have, but I didn't. I was like, "Oh, this is so fun. Like, look at this beautiful book I wrote." And Through a Mirror Darkly, I do all the formatting myself.
Mhm.
But when I put Through a Mirror Darkly out into the world, nobody told me what to do. I just went online, I Googled some things,
Yeah.
and I just threw it up on Amazon and like was like, "Look, I have a book." And it was great actually. I had a pretty good launch. And then after that, it was like, "Oh, you have to keep working and working and working at this." And so that
Yeah.
was something that
I feel like the rewards are outweigh the challenges and the things that you didn't expect. So
Oh, it's definitely true. I mean, you have this thing that you've written. You let's say you buy an ISBN for it, which is I buy for all my books. And so my book is like out there, like it's you can look it up by an ISBN, like it exists in the world. It's not just something that's in my head. It's registered, and I have a copyright. Like this is my work. The funniest part to me is that with each subsequent book, you have your dedication page, and I'm like, what do I dedicate it to now? And I like wrote a novelette the other day, and the dedication is to Celsius for always being there. And so like, and it's just like, yes, I actually have one that's going to come out, and it's going to be like, and the beginning of it, I already know the dedication. It's like this one's for me. I'm
yeah.
like,
Sometimes you have to say like, hey, without me, none of this would even be happening. So
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. I actually have this one. I did "Kiss Me in the Dark." I dedicated to my nana. "Through a Mirror Darkly." I dedicated to my husband. And this one is to every girly who thought I could solve that. That's this one. It's like
Mhm.
welcome to the podcast.
Oh, I love
And
that.
then this one, I actually don't remember because there's so many of them. Let's see. For every person who's loved someone who couldn't love them back, and especially for the moment they learned to love themselves instead. Because Jude is divorced, and the second book, she goes back home, and there is like actually like a crime she's solving that involves her ex-husband, and so she has to actually be back in contact with him again. And so it's yeah, it's like the whole thing. And so she's trying to solve it while navigating her own feelings. And there's this person from the first book that becomes sort of like a support system to her who he has like a fair part in the second book. And then And the third book, he actually has his own POV, which is crazy because these books are completely from Jude's point of view.
Oh my
Because the
gosh.
third one is I'm like Adrian has like his own point of view, and it's like a big deal. Brooks is a very good character as well. He is Adrian is you know what? I never tell anyone this. So let me just tell you.
Yeah.
When the Jude Amarante case files are over, I'm going to do a prequel series about Adrian. Adrian has his own backstory. It's pretty tragic. I mean, he's a private investigator, but he used to be a prosecutor. And so he was married. This whole tragedy happens. So there's like a 3-book trilogy prequel that's going to be just about Adrian. This is a 3-book. There could be more Judes in the future, but this first volume is 3.
3,
And
okay.
so, yeah.
Mhm.
And so I'm leaving it open ended. We could go somewhere else. I don't, the ending of the third book, it's been written, but it might not stay that way because it's not out yet. So
Okay.
that's why it's open ended right now because I don't know which way I'm going with the end. But, and then Adrian's sister, Quincy, who's introduced in the second book, she has her own book that's a spinoff. And
So this is gonna be a very big universe, like,
yeah,
oh,
there's a character in the first book who ends up being in a completely different series. So,
oh,
and yeah, so it's like a whole interconnected world. Yeah, so Roxy's pretty much going to be revolving around like the Jude universe,
mhm,
whereas Roxanne Holloway like is a completely different genre altogether. So,
mhm.
but this one's going to stay in like the whole same universe.
Yeah.
I'm actually toying with the idea of connecting both Kiss Me in the Dark and Through a Mirror Darkly into the Jude universe as well.
That would be awesome because if like readers have read all your books, they'll find like those little nuggets and they'll be like, "Oh my god, like I see that crossover." That would be a really fun idea. I love that.
I'm
Well,
excited about it because these are both standalones. This one actually is a duology now.
mhm,
Kiss Me in the Dark. So it's called Kiss Me Like You Mean It,
mhm.
and it's not out yet, but there's a character in there, and everyone really likes her, so she's getting her own story. So
Oh,
yeah,
all right. Well, there's a lot to look forward to in this.
if only I could be a full-time writer, I could get these babies done like so fast. You know,
That's the dream. That's
it's
the
just
goal.
so
That's the goal that we're working towards,
yeah.
and you're gonna get there. You will get there.
You know, that's what I'm telling myself.
You have to act like what is that saying? Like if you
Because you're
want
already there.
something, yeah, like you have to act like you're already yeah.
Like I manifest winning the lottery all the time, so I can be a full-time writer.
Me 3.
I'll play every now and then. I'll be like, I'm gonna win this one because actually, I won an Apple Watch doing that once.
Did you really?
I went into like this thing and was like, oh, I'm gonna win today, and everyone's like, you never win, and I was like, oh, because it was like a yearly thing at my job, and I was like, I'm gonna win today. It's like whatever, and you put our name in the bucket. I sat down and they announced the prizes, and it was an Apple Watch, and I was like, I'm gonna win that watch.
Is that the watch?
No, I gave it to my
Oh.
sister,
Oh, okay.
but I got it in 2016, so I gave it to her, and I have this one now, but it still works. But I was like, I'm gonna win that Apple Watch, and they called up and they did the Apple Watch, and I didn't win it, and I was like, and my friends were like, oh, and then like they did 2 more prizes, and then they pulled out another Apple Watch,
Oh my god.
and they immediately called my name, and I was like, I knew it, and so I went up there and got it, and then I sat down, and they were like, and reach under your seat, like you might have won something else to everyone, and I reached under and I won a T-shirt. Should have played the lottery that day.
You really should have. Like
I don't know why I didn't.
your
Like,
luck
I
your
was
your luck was through the roof that day.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
millionaire right now.
But I did want to talk about like the how you were mentioning earlier how you have like the Jude series and then you have like the 2 standalones. So I'm curious to know, is it more or less challenging to write the standalones versus the series for you?
So I have friends who write fantasy series, and they'll stay in the series and they'll write one book right after another, and they just pump them out. But my mind, you know, I've got all these like standalones,
Mhm.
and so you write a standalone, and then you have to, then your mind has to go into a whole nother book and you have to think and become part of that book. So I would say probably the standalones are more difficult because you are completely starting over, you know, with a brand new story.
Mhm.
Whereas with Jude, I just pick up where I left off and I just go, you
Right.
know. So yeah, I would say the standalones are difficult. However, I am very interested in doing well under my other pen name, I'll be doing interconnected standalones. So they're standalones in the same world, but
Mhm.
it's not like a continuing story. It's like, oh, this person, you met this person in this book. Now they have their own story.
Yeah, but I feel like interconnected standalones are easier, right? Because the readers already have that storyline, like the basic world building, and then you kind of just like build off of that and create a different story, but still in the same world. Whereas like a standalone, you have to, it's like start to finish, right? You're like,
Yeah.
okay, let me, this book, this story needs to have an ending, and it's like I need to figure out the ending in a certain amount of pages or a certain amount of words. Which one is your favorite? Would you say you're writing a series is your favorite?
I love writing Jude because my brain has to flex itself a little bit to kind of figure out where I'm going to lay the breadcrumbs. But Through a Mirror Darkly is my favorite. And I think it's because it's my first book.
It's your
Yeah.
baby, yeah.
Yeah. And it
Well,
was a dream and it was like this big, huge thing. And I finally did it, and it just, and my favorite male main character is Bennett DeMarco. So yeah.
well, let's talk about the Through Mirror Darkly. So it's your first one. So talk us through what inspired the story, what is it about, what can readers expect going into that book?
So what is the initial thing that inspired the story was that scene that I was having the dream.
Mhm.
I thought about home because I had just moved to Pennsylvania and got married and all that when I really started to write it. And I decided, you know what, this is going to be set in the Smoky Mountains where I come from in Tennessee. But I didn't want to put it in one particular town. So I put all the towns that I love together and call it Shakanahay, which is the Cherokee word for the Smoky Mountains. I might love this up, but it's it means land of blue mist or blue smoke, and so Smoky Mountains, blue mist,
Yeah.
and so Shakanahay is my town, but it's like a mixture of Townsend, Vonore, like Tellico Plains and Cades Cove, things like that, which are all the places that I really love, and Gatlinburg, and all in one. So
Was there any part of the book that kind of stumped you in writing it? Like, ooh, I can't figure this part out, or
N no, not in Through a Mirror Darkly. It was very fluid. It just came out. It's a very, introspective book.
Mhm.
You're in Cleo's head a lot in this book. There's actually less, dialogue in this book than any of my other books. It's her working through a lot of things herself. It's first person point of view.
Mhm.
Um,
More in her head a lot,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, and, you don't get anyone else's point of view. Well, you do. The villain, who calls himself Love, you get three very small brief chapters from them, which seem to be reader favorites.
Mhm.
So yeah.
How do you balance revealing the information to readers while maintaining like that tension? Like, how do you keep that balance?
When I know, so I know okay, so this is the build up. I have to put the majority of my clues in this second act, and then the third act is when everything kind of comes together.
Mhm.
So if I feel myself rushing through, I'll keep track of my word count, and if I feel like I'm starting to rush, I slow down. I go back, I add a little more dialogue, I add a little more anything, and just kind of slow it down and say, okay, okay, we need to work more on the character dynamics, the relationships, and less about just hitting these clue milestones. I do that a lot in Jude. And the first one, it was there's she meets so many people. There's so many relationships going on. There's this whole town. She's at the pub, and she's at the cafe, and she's here and there and everywhere, and she's finding about all these things that have happened in the past, and you have to you have to balance that. So
Mhm. Yeah, it's a good balance because you don't want like one aspect to like overweigh the other. Then the reader is like, wait, where are we going? Well, let's talk about a little bit about Jude because I know like this is like your series. I feel like this is like the series that you're so excited about because it's something that you can build and carry into, and you said like expand on since it is a series. What can readers go in expecting? Like if they picked up your book today, what would you expect for them out of the series?
so every book has its own mystery.
Mhm.
There is an underlying subplot that goes throughout all three books. The third book actually is a mystery that starts in the first book, but you don't know that. So it starts, and in the third book, it becomes its own thing.
Okay.
But you can expect there's multimedia pieces. It was really difficult for me to learn how to do, but I so she has a live stream. She's a podcaster, and she has a live stream that she does when she does the podcast. And so I did it as like a cell phone model, and then like the comments to come down. There's like little heart likes, stuff like that. That was all I had to learn how to do. There's court transcripts. There's like scribbled notepads. There's emails. Like all that stuff happens in the book. So it's definitely got that multimedia piece. But you can also just kind of expect it to be. It's not just mysteries. Like it's very much about like relationships. And I studied psych, and I was a case manager for a very long time. And so I really try to like really put like a lot of like really like deep psychological pieces in there, trauma, things like that, that affect people, and like how you have to work through that. And so every single one of my books has that. So
Did that your experience in that tell you like, "Hey, I wanna write psych thrillers?" Like, is that where the inspiration came from?
I think it just naturally happened.
Oh, okay.
Like my mind just like, but what makes a character tick, right?
Yeah.
So even in the Roxanne Holloway, it's happening like that. Like there's like this whole psychological piece, like, and it's like, oh, this is a dark paranormal romance, but like, look at all this trauma, like, it's
Yeah.
just like, it's just, I don't know, I just can't stop.
Yeah.
So
For the Jude series, what came first for you, or was it kind of like a mix of everything? Was it like, did you know she was gonna be a podcaster that does true crime, or like what came first for you?
it's actually really funny. On Instagram, where this whole thing in the last like 3 or 4 years, particularly in 2020, where you've had these people who were at home and who started covering like sensationalized stories, and they had their Instagram, and they'd get on there and they'd put little, little things, and people would start following them, and they're like, like investigating it. And it's
Yeah.
literally just people at home on their Instagram.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, this is really interesting. I was like, what if I wrote a book about like a character who did this sort of thing, but then they really like find something, you know, something big,
Like an actual
like
crime.
an
Yeah.
actual crime.
Yeah.
And I still have an idea for something sort of just like that.
Mhm.
But then I was like, wait, 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 wait. I love true crime podcasts. What if she's a podcaster and she starts solving crimes? And that was before this was before those books came out, like those YA books where the girls saw like had I don't think she had a podcast, but it's like something
Mhm.
that she anyway, I can't think of what they're called right now. But like that was before that happened. This was like a totally like I hadn't seen anything like it.
Mhm.
And so when I started writing it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool and like, unique and things like that. And so yeah.
That's so cool. I love that. I love that you got inspiration from that. You're like, I wanna have a character that does the crime solving and
But they don't know anything about what they're
yeah.
doing. But they're just out there. I mean, Jude is an accountant.
Mhm.
Like she literally is like she gets divorced, she quits her job, she sells her house, she's just working on this podcast, and somebody's like, "Hey, come help us cover this missing persons case." She's like, "Yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Like, see you in a couple of days."
I have nothing better to do.
She
I'll
really said, "I have nothing better to do."
Did she really?
Yeah, she said that to her. So I'm just like, "No, I got any better to do."
That's
So
hilarious. Oh my gosh. So you said that you're writing the third book in this series so far, right? So what can we expect from the third book? First of all, when is it gonna come out? Do you have like a date?
it's supposed to come out by the end of the year.
Okay.
It's much more complicated than the first two. There's a lot of time jumps, and now there's two point of views. So there's a lot happening. There's more characters involved in this because there are characters from other books that move forward while also introducing new ones. It's in a completely different place. Jude and Adrian are both doing their own thing. They're not together. So that's why you have two different point of views because they're both working on things separately.
Mhm.
And so it's much more complicated. There are literally court transcripts involved in this. So I've got to find out a new way to do that. There are voice memos, like a recorder voice memo, and that's something new. Like there's all these things that I have to format and put in.
Mhm.
So the first draft is done. It's just there's a lot of formatting that I have to add.
For these like court transcripts and things like that, do you do like research on how do you get these? I'm very intrigued, like, because you put so much like you said like multimedia in it, like text messages, emails, and things like that. How do you do research on I don't know, I'm very interested in like the crime aspect. Like how does that work in your head?
I used to be a child abuse investigator and
Okay.
I was in court a lot. So I know a lot about like what like court documents look like, reports. I've had to gather a lot of reports. I've done testimony, so I know kind of like what that looks like. I also was a sexual assault advocate, so I was in court a lot for that. So I know how like a lot of different types of court work, and so I use that. However, as a refresher for like things like what does a seal look like on a document, like those things aren't as fresh in my mind. Like the way it's laid out, yes. So I've made my own seals for these fake communities and things like that, and like judge signatures and things like that, like for my stuff.
That's
So police reports and documents like that and things.
That's really cool. That is really cool. Well, no wonder you love writing about it because you have your experience and that's really cool. Well, let's pivot a little bit because I know you have your other projects, Rocks under Roxanne Holloway, and this one is completely different genre, dark paranormal romance. So tell me, what made you want to write dark dark romance?
Um, because I love to read it. Like,
That's fair. That's fair.
my favorite genres are dark paranormal romance and mystery, thriller, psychological suspense, psychological thriller. So why not write them both, you know?
That's right.
And I've always loved like vampires and dragons and witches and things like that. Like I've always loved it. So I was like, oh, wow, I really want to write this. And I had so many stories in my head, but I had to put them aside because I was just writing the other. And I finally made the decision, you know what, I'm going to do this. This is really popular. This kid helped me get my name out there, you know. I have so many ideas. And yeah, so I'm currently working on like 4 projects, so we'll see which one gets done first. Like
And all they're all under Roxanne.
Roxanne Holloway, yeah.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about the I know that you said there's one that you're hoping to release later this year.
Mhm.
Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so, the series is called The Crimson Bargains, and it's a vampire series, so I'm super excited about that. I love vampires.
Yes.
In The Crimson Bargains, it's definitely dark paranormal romance. This isn't like sweet like Twilight, which I love Twilight, you know, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I loved it. So basically in the first book, you have the Vampire King and you have Immortal. His name is Oren and her name is Selene, and basically, the book starts out, and her and the man that she loves are both like dying. And Oren, the Vampire King, finds them both, and he offers her a bargain. He's like, if you become basically like his blood bag, pretty much. Like if you become like my blood bonded, then I will give you like I'll give you something in return. So she's like, well, save him, you know, and I'll become your blood bonded. So he orchestrates this bargain in a way where he pretty much makes it like whatever he wants to do, and she accepts it not because she's desperate, and basically what he does is he turns her immortal and leaves her lover to die. And then he takes her. So she's automatically like hating him, right?
I'm ready for this. I'm ready to read it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And so basically they go to his court, and it's kind of like gothic meets urban rot, you know, meets blood bargains, meets like dark possessive romance. So it's like all these things. And so it's modern day, but it's kind of in like a world that we don't really, it's like our world, but not our world.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things that happens, but he pretty much like manipulates her through the bond because their bond is like actually much stronger. He's ignoring it. She doesn't know anything. But like there's like this possibility that is like pretty much the highest form of a bond. And basically there's this other character in the background who needs Solin specifically for her bloodline in order to break a curse that's on him. And so he is trying to manipulate while also Aaron is being like totally toxic, and he's like manipulating her, and so he's pushing her to not want to be with him even though they are fated to be together. And so she's like fighting it all the way, and he's not helping himself. And it's kind of like he doesn't really realize it until it's pretty much too far gone. So
Oh.
yeah, and so it's definitely one of those like we're not going to make this sweet and like oh like he's he tells her he loves her, and so she's okay with everything. No, Selena's a very strong character and very much like, I'm not just gonna say, "Oh, everything's fine." So, I think that's more realistic. Yeah,
That I am so excited for this book. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I'm so excited.
You wanna hear the first 2 lines?
Yes. Oh my
Okay.
gosh, can I?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let me pull it up on my script now.
Okay.
The pain refuses to let her die. It clings to her, yanking her back as her breath stutters, like death isn't ready for her, even as life is evicting her. So, yeah, that's the first 2 lines. Yeah.
Gosh.
So, literally dying.
Okay, so hold on, wait. 2 questions.
Yeah.
I don't know which one to ask first. When is this book coming out again?
I'm hoping to release it on my birthday on September 29th.
Of
So
this year?
of this year.
Okay.
I'm like working really hard
Are we,
to
like,
make it
married
happen.
to that date?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my birthday.
Okay.
You know.
No, no, I mean, like, it's 'cause, like, because you might, like, push it to later, but yeah,
Um,
or earlier.
I feel like if I okay, so I have like ADHD and
Okay.
I have to have a deadline that's immovable so that I can make things happen.
Okay.
That's how I actually got There's Blood on the Reef out. There was like a date. I put it in there. You can't change it, you
Okay.
know? And so like it's like this is the date. And so
Okay.
September 29th is my date.
September 29th is the day.
Yeah. So and that's A Bargain in Blood and Silk, which is the first in the Crimson Bargains, and I'm really excited.
Well, my other question was, is it going to be how many it's a series, so how many books are you planning for it to be?
So, what I've noticed under Roxanne Holloway, the series tend to be 4 or 5 books.
Okay.
So, I only know really the first book in this. Like I said, these are interconnected standalones. My other 2 series, I know exactly how many books are in each one. But this one, all that's like really in my head is these first 2 characters, and they're everything to me. So, it's like I know more about them than I do any other book that I'm working on right now. So,
Has there been any, like, challenges for you to write this book, or has it just been like, "I know exactly what I want, and these characters are telling me what their story is?"
this one, they're telling me exactly what their story is. I have 2 other books under Roxanne Holloway, Vicious Moon, which is the first in a series, and Devour Me Darling, which is the first in a series. And I've written like half of them, but it's been a bit more of like a struggle because I'm still trying to figure them out.
Mhm.
So that's why they're both kind of on hold. They're not on hold. I'm still writing them, but like I'm focusing mostly on this book because it is so much clearer in my head.
Mhm.
And I feel like once I get through this, which is my first actual dark paranormal romance, I'll be able to just fly through those so much quicker. Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm so excited for this book. September 29th, it's in my calendar. I'm ready. I'm so excited. Well, you just are starting to kind of switch into the dark paranormal romance. Have you found any like differences or similarities between writing psychological thrillers and romance?
I feel like the similarity is it doesn't matter if you're writing like a psychological thriller or if you're writing dark paranormal romance. There's always an underlying mystery that you have to solve, no matter what it is. There's all because like think about it. You have like a paranormal romance. There's always some bad guy. There's always some problem that needs to be solved. There's always something you have to figure out. So at the base, I feel like everything is a mystery.
Mhm.
There's always something, even if it's just like a contemporary romance. I don't mean just a contemporary romance, but you know what I mean. Like if it's a contemporary romance, there's still something that has to be solved.
Mhm.
So that's great for me because my mind likes to solve puzzles.
Mhm.
The difference is that the pace in these books is so quickly, like you don't have to do as much world building. It's more about the connections, it's more about the mystery. The world kind of builds itself.
Mhm.
But when you're writing the dark paranormal romance, it's about huge emotions and it's about the world around them just as much as it is about the story.
Mhm.
So I'm having to slow myself down and fill in the gaps a little bit more
Mhm.
because and people when they read these they say that they can see everything so clearly in their head, and I don't describe things very vividly.
Mhm.
It's just there's basic things and people fill in the rest,
Mhm.
and it works for them. But in these other books I have to be a little more specific, a little more detailed on those kind of things.
Yeah. You sound so passionate about this dark romance
Oh,
book.
I
Like
am.
you are I can see it. Like you're like, "Oh my god, I can't wait." And oh my god, I love
Yeah.
it. Do you have like a time? I know you said September 29th. What about the other 2? Do you have like are you already like plotting it in your head? Like, okay, what's the storyline going to be for the next couple books?
For the series,
Yeah.
not yet because I want to go to the next. I want to get Devour Me Darling out next
Okay.
and Vicious Moon out next, so that because of my ADHD, so I can cycle through each series and I don't get bored.
Okay.
So I can write one book at a time in each series and just kind of cycle through them. So
Awesome. Oh my god. That I'm so excited for that book. Oh my god. What is different about building romantic tension when supernatural or psychological threats are involved?
So for the paranormal romance, I think there's always this like thread of fate. I think that goes through with dark paranormal romance. Even if it's not a fated mates thing, there's always fate involved.
Mhm.
There's always some sort of like pheromonal thing or There's like magical dynamics, things like that are going on. Whereas in mystery, it's more of a like, of a real like regular day to day kind of connection that develops. And but I feel like magic and fate and things like that is really what makes the other difference. Yeah.
What do you think draws readers to both like the psychological thrillers and the dark romance?
I think it's because it's a world that one you're never well, with the psychological thrillers, you hope you never live in, you know?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
with the fantasy or the dark paranormal romance, it's a world that you will never live in. But it's really nice to read, and the relationships are so passionate that it's like you get to live something that you wouldn't get to live in real life in
Mhm.
general. Yeah.
Yeah. So both of your genres are they're very dark, right? They're very they talk about topics that maybe are not so they should be talked about a little bit more in the real world. So what you kind of talked about it already, but what about the territory fascinates you for both paranormal and the psych thrillers?
Well, as far as psych thrillers go, I think it's because I have worked in nonprofits and government jobs since I graduated college that dealt a lot with like crime and abuse. And I was like so wrapped up in that world for so long that once I went to nursing school, that was all still like in my head all the time. And so it started to become stories because I was no longer living it. So I
Mhm.
was able to do that. I used to love Law and Order SVU, but when I was a sexual assault advocate, I couldn't watch it, but I can watch it again now. And so I think it just depends on the circumstance. It's easier to write it now that I don't work in it.
Right.
But I do have all that experience, which I think helps.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's great that you are able to, like, channel that and say, "Hey, I have experience in this. I can actually write something that I know is accurate," you know? So now that you have written these 4 books, you're writing a couple under Roxanne, what has writing taught you about yourself through this evolution of books?
I used to think that I was not artistic, that I didn't have like creativity inside of me.
Mhm,
All of my siblings play instruments. My brothers draw, and I used to always be like, "Wow, I just didn't get any of that. The only thing I have is like book smarts."
mhm.
And now that I can write these stories and they're all so unique and they're have their own thing, it's like I realize like I actually do have art in me. And it's something that my siblings can't do, just like I can't do what they can do, and so it actually gives me, like, just a bit of pride in me because I have a lot of siblings, and all of them play instruments. I'm the oldest of 7,
Mhm.
and I'm the only one who can't play anything, so it was like, "Oh, man," they're
Yeah,
like, "Oh, but I have this,"
but
and
you
so
can write books,
yeah,
which is really cool.
yeah.
That's awesome, that's awesome. What is something that readers don't know about you or may know about you or may surprise them? Yeah.
Um, I have, like, a pretty extensive collection of keyboards.
You have a collection of keyboards,
Yes.
okay. Tell us about that.
I don't actually know how many I have. I have like at least 10, I think.
You have 10 keyboards.
Yes.
Okay.
I have, and they all have names. Some of their names are like, I have Sugar Hex, I have Petal, I have Pops, Valentina, Darling, Ravina. And then I also have typewriters. Well, Darling is a typewriter. She's actually just came in the mail today. So my husband got her. She's like a red typewriter.
Mhm.
And so I already named her. Her name is Darling.
I love that.
Yeah, because she's beautiful and red. And then I have like other typewriters. I have 2 portable typewriters. Actually, I have them with me.
Can we see them?
Yes. So first of all, this one is Drift. So this is the company Freewrite, like, I'm obsessed with them, but, like, this is, a small typewriter that you can fold up and take with you. I actually took it to my last book signing, and, like, during the book signing when people weren't at my table, I was just working on, were my novelettes. So this is the Freewrite Traveler, and, like, the keys sound so good. They're, like, buttery, and I love
Ooh,
that.
and does that screen it you see, like, your like, the that's where, like, when you type, that's it
Mhm.
pops up, that's
And it's, like, e-ink, so it's kind of like a Kindle screen.
ooh,
Yeah, so,
cool.
that's the Freeride Traveler.
Can we take a moment for the sticker?
Oh, the sticker says, "Just the tip, I promise."
I love it so much, oh my
So
gosh.
it's like it's good. I
Love
love it.
it.
So, I don't normally put stickers on my things, but this was like, I had to. So
Okay.
yeah, this is the Free Write Traveler. And then I have, oh, this one's cute. This one's called Riot. And it's like a little handheld one that I use on my cell phone.
Oh my god.
And so like it's like a QWERTY kind of keyboard, and it has even like a little mouse pad on the side.
That is so
So
cute.
yeah, so this is Riot.
Riot.
My little darling. Well, can't say darling.
You can't say
'Cause
darling.
I have a darling.
Yeah, you have a
But
darling.
oh yeah, so that's Riot. And this one is just a random one that I found on Amazon because Amazon knows I like keyboards now, and so they're constantly sending them to me.
Yeah, your page is probably just all different types of keyboards.
Yeah, and Free Write knows
Oh my
too, and
god.
they're always sending me emails like, "Guess what? We got a new one." Um,
Oh, that's bad.
yeah,
That's bad.
yeah,
That's good, but that's bad.
which is how I end up with all of them.
Yeah.
And the other one that I have with me today is Lunara.
Oh,
This is also a Free Write one. This one actually has like a glow in the dark kind of screen in the back, so at night you can type on this in bed, and it just like has glow in the dark or whatever. And so this one sounds really cool. It's got bounty keys.
ooh.
I love this guy. And this. Oh yeah.
ASMR.
Here we go. Let's do it.
That's
Um,
so
yes, but this one is the Free Write, the Lunar Alpha, which was a limited edition. So they don't make it, so I've got it.
I
So
love
excited.
this. Listen, keyboard sponsors,
I know,
like
but
keyboard companies, you
yeah.
sponsor.
Find me on
Yeah.
you ready. And then so they have a new one. It's a prototype. I got in on the Kickstarter, and it's called the Word Runner, which makes me think of a Road Runner, right?
Yeah.
And it's this big metal one. I've already named it. It's not coming for like until I don't know, I think the end of the year. But I've named it Kronos because it's this big metal one. And so
Ooh.
yeah, his name is Kronos. He's the only boy keyboard that I
You
have.
gotta have a boy.
Yeah.
You gotta have a boy.
So these are my children.
Yeah.
Um,
So this is my question, but it's probably bad if you call them your children. Which one is your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
hmm.
It's okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't. Yeah, it's like
so-
thinking between your children, you know?
I just, I don't have a favorite.
Okay.
I can't.
You can't. All right.
Yeah, but Darling just came. The red Valentine's Day edition, the Free Write typewriter. It looks like a traditional typewriter with an e-ink display. But her name is Darling, and she could potentially take over everything.
Oh.
So because she's so beautiful, but we'll see. It depends on how the keys sound.
Okay, yeah, the keys, the ASMR needs
Mhm.
to sound.
Because I do have one, and her name is Petal, and I'm trying to be in love with her. She has silent keys, and I'm like, oh, babes, like,
We can't do that.
yeah.
We can't accept
So,
that.
um, oh, and my MacBook is midnight colored, and her name is Nyx, and my iPad is named Celine after the main character in the Crimson Bargains, A Bargain in Blood and Silk. Her name is Celine.
I love this.
She's pink. Oh no. But like, so, anyway.
It's the excitement,
so
yeah.
ladies. Yeah. So
Oh my god, and I love that you have unique names for all of them. Like
Yeah.
can I ask how did you come up with like some of them? Like I know you were ready to talk about like Darling and the other ones, but how did you come up with some of the other ones?
I have one that's like a pink and black ombre, and it's a gaming keyboard. Sounds amazing. And her name is Ravina, and I think it's just because I was thinking Raven, but it's pink too.
Yeah, so it's like
a
girly.
Yeah. And then I have a lipstick keyboard. Her name is Pops, and I named her Pops because one of my best friends, Rebecca Sinclair, wrote a book called That Time I Accidentally Became a Serial Killer. Her name is Poppy. It's like Legally Blonde meets Dexter. And she's like a girly girl, and she's out there solving crime, and she's like a lipstick girl, and just, anyways, like literally Legally Blonde. And when I was naming the keyboards, I was like, oh, this one's Pops. Because Pops is like a nickname for that character.
Oh my
Poppy.
gosh.
So, yeah, so her name became Pops.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I love these keyboards.
Yeah.
I love that you bring them with you. Like you bring more than one with you.
Yeah, I actually have another one back at home that I pulled out because I didn't have enough room, and it's just like a foldable keyboard that you can like connect by Bluetooth to your phone, and its name is Zephyr, and like it opens. It's got like a little keypad, and like it's just a foldable keyboard. Yeah, that you take with you.
So does each keyboard have it like your own story? Like is it like one keyboard is writing one book, the other keyboard is writing another book? Is that how you have it organized?
I do overnight nursing. And I take care of this little boy. He's very sensitive to light. So this one I actually got for writing at his house. And I also use Zephyr for that. They still have a click, but they're quieter, and the light is low on this. And then my iPad, I can turn it down and use Zephyr with it, and that works. Not really. I mean, I do think that I will probably use Darling to write a lot of dark paranormal romance. I feel like that's going to be her vibe. You know?
I agree.
Yeah,
The Dark Paranoid, you gotta have that book
I know.
written.
And
That's awesome.
and the rest of them will just be anything. But I really feel like Valentina is good. I mean, Darling, Valentina is a different one. Darling is definitely going to be that dark paranormal romance. So
I love that. I feel because you said it came today, so
yeah.
I feel like you're probably like, oh my god, like I need to see it in person.
Yeah, I almost asked my husband to open it and send me a picture, and I was like, no,
I
I want to
want
be
it.
the one. Like
I do the same thing with my husband. Every time I have a package, I'm like, no, I want to open it, but I want to also see what's inside.
I know.
Love that. Oh
My
my
Ring camera was like, boom, you got a package, and I was like, get it out, it's outside, it's in the heat, get it,
well,
like
it's precious.
I
It's
know.
what is it? Precious cargo, right? Like you
Yeah.
need to make sure. And I'm sure it's her children.
These
Yeah,
are my I don't have human children. I have my puppies, and then I have my keyboards.
your
I have my
keyboards.
books,
Yeah,
and I have my story notebooks,
yeah.
so
Oh yeah, you have notebooks too,
yeah.
and you so oh my god, okay, wait. So you have the notebooks. So do you like write and then how does that work? Because you write stories and then you also type them. So is it the same story?
Oh, so I put story ideas in the notebooks, and then whenever I'm making my outlines, I do them in the notebooks.
Mm.
So it'll be like scene one, scene two, scene three, and I'll go down through there. And then first it'll be just like one, two, three, four, it'll be bullet points. And then I will go chapter one and I'll write everything I want to happen in that chapter. So the notebooks are just like full of those stories. Like Devour Me Darling is in a notebook in my purse over there. And then I also do all of my marketing. I have a notebook for my marketing, and like I will have an idea and then I'll put the date that I did it beside it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
love that. And I love that you carry, like I said, you have like I saw you had like 4 or 5 notebooks in there. Like
I know I have this. I like got this like kind of satchel bag. It's like a Coach bag, and that's where everything's in. I think I'm gonna have to get a bigger one. It's not big enough.
because you need to put your keyboards in there too.
Yeah, I had to leave Prisma
Oh,
at Amber's house when I came here. Like I'm staying with her this weekend, and I couldn't put her in here. Like there wasn't enough room. So
I hope she doesn't feel left out though.
I
Yeah, you do. You need like a
like a little.
carry-on. Yeah, like yeah.
They call me the bag lady anyway at work because I'm a nurse. I'm in a small house of people, and I do nursing with them, but I take all this stuff with me all the time. And so I come in, I do overnight shifts there. So I have like an overnight bed, and I have my bag of keyboards, and then I have my purse, and everyone's like, come on, bag lady. And I'm like, whatever.
I think you do need a carry-on. So they don't get it. The people
They
don't
don't
get
get it.
it. But I get it. And you get it. That's all that matters.
We get it.
2 more questions here. If one thing, if you can go back in time and go back to when you were writing Through Mirror Darkly, what is some advice or one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
I think that my piece of advice would be to work with the marketing team at the very beginning. Because I just this year started a marketing program that I've been working my way through. I'm basically done with it. Just so busy, I haven't been able to implement as much as I'd like, but it's starting and it's going good.
Mhm.
But I would have done that from the beginning because I spent from 2023 until literally the last couple of months floundering, trying to figure out what works. And things make a lot more sense now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's good, and I feel like if you started in the beginning, you kind of well, you're still learning, right? So
Mhm.
it's all a learning curve and you learn as you go.
Yes.
So, but I'm glad you got a marketing, you taking your marketing course and you're learning now, for that book on September 29th.
I'm excited.
I'm so excited. Awesome. And then the last question here is if you can give one piece of advice to aspiring authors, what would you tell them?
Just write it. A lot of people get nervous and they'll start writing and they'll stop and then they won't pick it up again because they're like, this isn't working. Just write it. First draft doesn't matter. Just tell yourself the story. You can go back later and you can fix anything that doesn't work. You can fill in any gaps. You can fluff up. I call it fluffing up the story, adding in all those extra details. You can do all that. If something doesn't work, you can pull it out and you can add something new. But just write it. Just tell yourself the story and don't give up on it. That's what I would say.
I love that. That's really good advice. Awesome. Well, thanks, Roxy,
Yeah.
for talking to us. This has been such a fun conversation. I love
Yeah.
seeing your keyboards.
Thank you.
Thank you for talking to us today. And for our viewers and listeners, where can they find you? Where can they support your books?
I am on Instagram. It's like at Roxie Writes, ROXIE WRITES. So Roxie Writes on Instagram and on TikTok. And then Roxanne Holloway is on both Instagram and TikTok, but it's like Roxanne.Holloway.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. And for your books, can are they found on Amazon or?
Yes, my books are all on Amazon, and then they're also on my website, which is RoxieCohenBooks.com. I will also be putting the Roxanne Holloways on there, but it'll be a separate tab. So I'm going to keep all of them under the same website just for easy browsing. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. And for our viewers and listeners, thank you for watching this episode of Tales in Focus. You can find TBR Trio on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, of course, at tbr.trio. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any future author interviews or book events. Tune in next time to see what other tales TBR tells. Yay!